Welcome into the CHGO White Sox podcast, coming to you live from Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, the full CHGO White Sox crew. He's back.
Wow, I got a royal welcome.
Lord Goosington's back.
Lord Goosington's back. Oh, wow. Look at this. Oh, wow. Sarah, thank you.
You're very big. This is a very big head.
Yeah, I know, especially compared to you two.
Yeah, we're in the heaven.
R.I.P. to us. That's Vinnie Duber. He's back. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. He's got a brand new piece up at allchgo.com talking about the 100 losses for the Diamondbacks and Rangers and how the White Sox could possibly have that same arc, something we've been talking about with you in the mountains. But now as that graphic showed, you're back. And the man in the middle is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him at EcknerWall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. I'm Sean Anderson. Follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. Follow the show at CHGO_White Sox. What up to Sleepy Harold in the chat? Make sure you're hitting the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel. We're growing each and every day here at CHGO. We had a live show for the Blackhawks on Saturday. We had a live show on the
very cool
for the Bears on Sunday.
Very cool.
Hell yeah! And it's and we had our awesome thing on opening day too. So
we did.
Join while you can, folks. I guess.
Well, you'll always be.
Yeah, we'll be around.
Join, but the quicker you do it, the sooner you get to reap the rewards.
It makes us happier. We were being produced today by Sarah.
Hi.
Hello. All right, let's jump into this. Herb,
Yes.
You said something that Vinny has not heard, and we're going to talk about that. That's going to be the main topic today. Would you rather start a team with Luis Robert Jr. or Corbin Carroll? We'll get into that. We also got a question asked to us by Luke, so we'll answer Luke's question. We'll be answering diehard questions tomorrow, so send those in through our Discord if you are a diehard. But let's jump into Vinny's article. Vinny, we haven't asked you this question. We've been kind of answering this question and figuring out if the White Sox 2 years from now are to be in the playoffs. What arc do you think is more likely, a Rangers arc or a Diamondbacks arc? Maybe it's somewhere in the middle because they have a little bit more money than the Diamondbacks, and maybe more means to pay people. But if you had to pick one, don't give me a middle here. Rangers or Diamondbacks?
Ooh, that's a good question. So if I had to pick one, I'd probably lean more D-backs, just because you look at this absolute monstrous size of some of the contracts that Texas has handed out over the last few off seasons, and we heard from Jerry Reinsdorf back at the end of August. That kind of thing doesn't seem very likely for the White Sox. Now, doesn't mean that they couldn't try to assemble a team by going out and getting free agents or making trades, much like the Rangers have done, but to do it on that magnitude doesn't seem as likely to me, just because Jerry said that isn't really the way he wants to go. But at the same time, look how long it took the D-backs to get to this point, right? I mean, this is kind of what White Sox fans were waiting to happen. Years of waiting for the young guys to kind of get here. I think those guys are already on the White Sox. So if we're talking about 2 years from now, it's the fact that some of those guys, the Moncadas, the Eloys, obviously Robert's done it already, but kind of wake up and become that young core. I thought it was interesting, though, you just look at even just the top 5, 6, 7 guys on the D-backs this year in terms of WAR. A lot of those guys were not drafted by the D-backs. They were acquired. They've spent most of their big league career in Arizona playing for that team. But, I mean, you look at Ketel Marte didn't start his career as a Diamondback. Christian Walker didn't start his career as a Diamondback. Zach Gallen didn't start his career as a Diamondback. And then 2 guys who are right in the middle of their lineup this year, Moreno and Gurriel Jr., acquired in a trade just this past offseason. So every year, the World Series should show you that there's more than one way to skin a cat, so to speak, or more than one way to build a team that's capable of getting where they are. The D-backs are very interesting because it's just been little moves here and there. Have acquired the right guys to mix with some of the young prospecty types that they've got. Carroll is obviously a star already just 1 year in. But, everybody who says it's got to be the Rangers way, go out and get the 2 best players and sign them to as much money as you possibly can. The D-backs have shown a way to do it that isn't that. The big caveat that I say here is, what do people always say, Herb? You're one of them. Everybody goes out there, oh, maybe the White Sox will be a division, win the division next year. And you're like, you got to be kidding me. That's the goal? You're trying to win the division? Neither of the 2 teams playing in the World Series right now won the division. The Diamondbacks finished way back in the NL West. The Rangers almost blew it and missed the playoffs completely. These are two teams that I don't think anybody at the beginning of the postseason would have said, slam dunk, best team in baseball. They have built the team that makes them the absolute elite. So you got to get lucky, too. Now, the number one thing you got to do is putting yourself in a position to get lucky, which the White Sox haven't been able to do very often so far. But it's part of the ingredients there is the luck factor, too. But you got to have the guys who can get you there. The Rangers have done it one way. D-backs have done it another way. I do think the answer is in the middle, but if you're forcing me to pick one for how the White Sox could be there 2 years from now, I'd say probably you got to go the D-backs route.
And I agree, because that is the easier route and more realistic route for the White Sox to do. As you said, like trades for when they sent getting Moreno back and Gurriel back. Those things have improved their left field. I mean, he wasn't a bad thing. Dalton Varsho was actually pretty good at the fielding, but you saw this year with Toronto wasn't really there with the bat. Gurriel, I didn't think he was going to be this good, and Moreno is, solidified the staff. So, yeah.
Well, and you know what's better than one player? Two players.
Yeah, and getting and there's another guy, KPW could tell you all about Dalton Varsho. And I picked him on our fantasy team. I had the one that we, did the AL only. That was probably my only guy that sucked, and it was Dalton Varsho, which made all his war on defense, neither here nor there. But like you said, all the trades to get Zach Gallen, to get all these other people, and then as a guy I poo-pooed, Brandon Pfaadt, I was like, this dude, 8 ERA, garbage. He shut down the White Sox, and then they're starting games with him. The first game of series, I'm like, this really? You got Merrill Kelly, you got Zach Gallen, but Brandon Pfaadt's your guy. Cool. And that man has done nothing but performed every year. And so all this postseason. But I think the White Sox can look at them and say, yeah, we don't have a prospect necessarily that's going to change our team like Corbin Carroll has changed the Arizona Diamondbacks.
I mean, I think they do, though. Again, I don't think anybody should expect anybody to come up and do what Corbin Carroll did. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, that's what the White Sox have right now is they have one really, really, really good prospect.
Yeah. And then
Sean's over here.
We're talking about Luis Robert, right?
What?
No, we're talking about
he's already on the team.
Montgomery. He's already on the team.
But he's not going to change anything.
If we're looking at like those two teams, I would say that the Corbin Carroll equivalent is just Luis Robert.
That is correct.
Understood, but I'm just saying
so
from one
about Colson?
The team that we were talking about last year that was lowly, they had Corbin Carroll play a couple games last year, but he didn't play a lot. From that point to this point, good trades. Moreno's been awesome, but Corbin Carroll is the central focus of why that team isn't 84 losses and now they're in the World Series. I think Corbin Carroll is the centering focus of that team. We can't, like, when Colson Montgomery comes up either next year or the year after, I don't think he's going to have the same effect. I think he's going to be really good, but I don't think it's going to be the same player. But I think the White Sox have a closer path to that because they're not spending $556 million on John Gray. They're not spending that on Semien or Seager. But Seager, people say the short walk from what Seager is Colson Montgomery. It's a short walk, and they say he looks like him. He plays the part. That is who he professes to be eventually when he hits his major league zenith. And so I think going that route is going to be really hard because we already said in Vinny's article, not spending 10-year deals on pitchers, probably not even spending what they spend on John Gray for a pitcher. And so you can't really get there. And it's not like the Texas Rangers didn't develop talent either. And Vinny's article goes all over through this, so you should check it out at allchgo.com. But they spent money on development, and they spent money on the major league staff, which is what you need to do. You got to give their credit where credit's due. I know John Daniels is most of this initially, but Chris Young finished off this and made it what it is right now.
Real quick, I got to give credit to Corey Seager. I don't know if it's a hop, skip, and a jump for what'd you say?
I'm just saying, like, if people say
Seager, like, yeah, maybe
people see Colson Montgomery, they see Corey Seager.
Yeah, but now watching this postseason, I think Corey Seager is way closer to like Tony Gwynn. You know what I'm saying? Like, that guy is a Hall of Famer. There is nobody currently, maybe Soto, that has a better eye, that has a better that just knows how to discern a pitch when it's coming out of a hand, knows where the strike zone is.
Swings at strikes.
Yeah, right. I mean, he only swings at strikes too. He's insane. There's one stat out there that shows players zone contact and out of zone swing, I think it is. And Seager is like 6% better than the second rate guy in, I think, zone contact and swinging outside of the zone. He's like 2% better. So he's like just got the best eye ever. He doesn't swing at balls, and he only swings and makes contact when it's in the zone. He's insane.
And
so if that's Colson Montgomery, we are winning the World Series.
One more point though on the whole D-backs, Rangers. They lost 100 games. 2 years later, they're in the World Series. White Sox lost 100 games this year. Who'd the White Sox just hire to become their assistant GM?
Right. Josh
Again,
Barfield.
I'm not saying the guy's got, magic dust that he's going to sprinkle all over the White Sox and they're going to be a pennant winner in 2 years. But that Diamondbacks team 2 years ago was horrible. They lost 110 games.
Yes.
And Josh Barfield wasn't Mike Hazen. He's not the guy making the ultimate decision, but he was part of the mix. He was part of what got them to this point. And so, hey, you bring over that know-how, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt is all I'm saying.
Was it top 10 each year that he was there?
Farm system?
Yeah. Amen. It's good drafting, but after drafting, development has to happen. We're going to go over a question a little later on where Corbin Carroll's picked 16th in that same draft where Andrew Vaughn was picked early.
Yeah, right. And shout out to Luke, who's hanging out with us in the chat. So, real quick, you weren't here when we shared these, Vinny, but easily one way that the White Sox can change like the Diamondbacks did, that 100-loss team, over the change from the 2021 team that lost 100 games to the team in 2022 that I think lost around 84. They went from a minus 13 outs above average team and negative 10 runs prevented to 44 outs above average and 38 runs prevented. So
catch the ball.
Right. Yeah. The White Sox negative 17 outs above average this year, negative 14 runs prevented, both in 2022 and 2023. So, and you see the pitching was much better on the 2022 team, and that's why they won 81 games. So, if you're able to find good pitching by 2025, hello, Brian Bannister. And I think Brett Strom is, very well thought of, highly regarded in Arizona. He's the guy that's helped Brandon Pfaadt make those changes. I think he switched sides of the rubber, and that's something that Strom thought would help Pfaadt, and hey, it has. But yeah, no, there are a lot of, I think, what's it called? Not crossovers. What's the word I'm looking over? Parallels between Arizona and the White Sox, especially with Josh Barfield being hired.
And how many grades did we give these White Sox fielders that were Fs? Whether it's defense, offense, or overall. Improve those to Cs. Improve those to Cs, and you're not fine, but you're much better. As you said, with Arizona going from 110 losses to 84 losses, they improved their defense vastly. And Dalton Varsho was part of that. I think that, I don't know, maybe getting rid of Darryl Boston and then bringing in a different outfielder coordinator. And he has a little bit different message to the outfielders and how they need to perform. And bringing in better outfielders. We saw how bad Andrew Benintendi ranked last year in all the metrics. If you just looked at the games, you're like, he's fine in left field. He's fine. But you look at the metrics, God damn, he was terrible. He wasn't that good at all. But all you need is a professional right fielder, too, that would help them out, too, because the two guys they had there, for the most part, were negative. The worst right fielders in Major League Baseball, period.
Grandal wasn't above average. I think he was a negative, so they can improve at catching. Obviously, there's been holes in right field, second base. If you get someone who's more professional and can play above average defense, hey, there's ways you can make gains as well. And then at shortstop, there is the big Tim Anderson option looming. And, Tim Anderson is a bat-first shortstop. Do they go for a glove-first guy that can give them, above average, 10 outs above average at that position at such a key position? So, I don't know if that comes into factor, and we're just kind of looming. Chris gets his first big decision on if he's going to pick up Liam Hendricks and Tim Anderson. But yeah, it's going to signal the way the White Sox go. And two, the Orioles in 2021, they lost over 100 games, and they're in the playoffs in 2023. So not only could you take the route of the Rangers or the Diamondbacks, you could take the route of the Orioles, or maybe you make your own way.
The Orioles weren't only in the playoffs in 2023; they were the best team in the American League.
That's true.
Dismissed.
And hey,
and won no playoff games.
So and it seems like maybe they're blending, some NL Wests here. You get a little bit of a Giants influence with Brian Bannister and Ethan Katz on the pitching side, and they won 101 games or something like that in 2022. Yeah. And then the Diamondbacks obviously now weathered the storm, got in the playoffs, and are here in the World Series. But yeah, no, it just seems like let's have great pitching and defense is going to be hopefully the thought process, and maybe Luis Robert Jr. can hit 50 bombs if he stays healthy. Let's take a break, and we'll talk about Luis Robert Jr. and Corbin Carroll a little bit more, and we'll get into Herb's, I think, ridiculous take that that he would rather have Corbin Carroll over Luis Robert Jr. And hey, Vinny, you get to be the decider here. And we're glad to have you back. We want to let you know about our friends over at Circa Sportsbook. They are the world's largest sportsbook, and they're in Illinois, so make sure that you are downloading the app today. The best part about our friends over at Circa is their tight money line splits. Games will strive to be minus 110 split on the Circa Sports menu, unlike other sportsbook, which may use a minus 115 or minus 120 split. So if you really do love a certain side, if you love a certain total, Circa is the place to bet it because they are trying to give you the least amount of juice possible, right? I mean, if you are going to make a bet, if you are going to stake your claim, why not make your stake your claim and get the most money possible for it? Circa keeps as little money as possible on large market bets like futures, golf tournaments, especially compared to other books, which allows them to keep that low split close to minus 110, their low hold model, and their customer service is unbeatable. There are real people behind the Circa Sports brand who resolve issues in a timely fashion, unlike other books who use chatbots, and all other aspects of the bet of the app are being run by the same team that runs the main Circa Sportsbook at Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. So download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app. That's circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. Text GMB 833-234 or visit areyoureallywinning.com. And shout out, you got Monday Night Football tonight too. So if you are going to place any bets, go check out our friends over at Circa. I'm trying to find the line, and I can't find it, so I'm not going to tap dance anymore. Goodbye. Also want to let you know about our friends over at Soul Savvy. There was a big weekend. I don't know if Cody picked up the Royals Reimagined shoe, but did you hear that? They were selling a shoe, Royal Reimagined. That's Chris Getz's.
Who's they?
Soul Savvy. It's our advertiser. But
sure.
That's Chris Getz's off-season plan.
But Ching.
Thank you.
We got a rim shot sound effect that you can play for Sean on that one?
Do you?
I don't think so.
We got to download. Yeah.
Just do the goose honk.
Maybe you should do. Yeah. Download.
See, now I'm panicking.
You don't need to panic. I literally made that up. That works.
Perfect. Don't miss out on the biggest sneaker drops and download the Soul Savvy Drops app today. The Drops by Soul Savvy app makes it easier to keep up with the all the latest news in the sneaker world, releases, raffles, and sales. It is your one-stop shop for everything sneakers. They have drop alert instant notifications, so you never miss a release again. You'll get instantly notified whenever your size is available to buy. They have a free raffle management, which keeps track of all the raffles that happen in the sneaker world with their raffle tracker and the release calendar. It's an accurate release calendar, which will keep you updated on the releases that are upcoming. Whether you're a casual buyer or an all-out sneakerhead, Soul Savvy has something for you with 3 different levels. The basic version, which is free, Mobile Plus, or Premium, and a drop alert is coming up for November 4th. Air Jordan 1 Royal Reimagined drops. The Drops by Soul Savvy will notify you when and where it's dropping. Download the app and never miss a release. And I know our guy Cody, who's the biggest sneakerhead in the office, who's got the premium account, was talking about the Reimagined Royal shoe and the price. That not only is it like he's very excited for it. They got the news. I think it's like 2 weeks in ahead, but he's also just thrilled about the price. So sign up for Soul Savvy by clicking the links in the description or by visiting links.soulsavvy.com/CHGO or head over to the App Store and download the Drops, DROPS, by Soul Savvy app. All right, let's get into Corbin Carroll and Luis Robert Jr. And since Luke's hanging out with us, let's get into his question here. Or is it? Oh, I made the other one.
Oh yeah, the
it's
questions.
The same. Remember the
X
thing?
questions.
Yeah. I made because I wanted to make a stupid X joke.
Can you ask a
action?
is it like xylophone? Is it a Z?
I don't know.
Can you ask this question?
Question. This is from Twitter, and Luke. Luke. Wow, someone disliked.
Got
that.
a thumbs down for the
Wow.
question.
I wanted to do it. Luke McD17 at Luke McD17 said a question I would love answered in today's show. What if the White Sox drafted Corbin Carroll with the 3rd overall pick in the 2019 MLB draft instead of Andrew Vaughn? He said, what if they were flipped? So what if Andrew Vaughn was on the Diamondbacks and what if Corbin Carroll was on the White Sox? I would tell you this much: the Diamondbacks wouldn't be in the World Series right now. I mean, I think
Maybe.
the Diamondbacks would be worse. The White Sox would be better. But if the White Sox just drafted Corbin Carroll, because they also had the ability to draft Bobby Witt Jr. too. They could have drafted a lot of different players besides Andrew Vaughn. What would this team look like if Corbin Carroll was on the White Sox? How would you feel about Andrew Benintendi, Luis Robert Jr., and Corbin Carroll as your outfield?
You're catching everything from right field into center field.
I mean, Luis Robert Jr. can cover left field.
A little bit. But
He's going to win the Gold Glove.
I don't know if he's going to win the Gold Glove. You just saw Kiermaier just win the fielding Bible one, and that's a quarter of the voting already. And so he's already known as a fielding guy. I guarantee they're not going to give it to Luis Robert Jr. for reasons. They're going to find a way to give it to Kiermaier or Rodriguez. But yes,
those guys are good.
They're really good. Yes, they undeserved. And if we're doing the whole he's still good at defense thing, and he also provides offense as the Gold Glove standard, they should give it to Luis Robert. But if they had the outfield, man, that would just be devastating. I don't even know if Andrew Vaughn would be in the major leagues right now if he was a Arizona Diamondback, because he has a Gold Glove / home run hitting first baseman in front of him there in Christian Walker, which they wouldn't be replacing him with. And so I think it would have been good. But also, I don't think anybody at the time was thinking that Andrew Vaughn would be the player that he is now, where he's kind of fine but not the player that should be. And it's not necessarily his fault. The pandemic of 2020, he didn't get to play that often at all. We had only single A experience in the minor leagues, and then he comes up to the majors and they play him out of his position. So I think some of this is on the pandemic and some of it's on White Sox development. I digress. But I think that, the White Sox not drafting Andrew Vaughn and going to get a high school player in Corbin Carroll, right? He was the 16th pick in the draft that year. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the Draft Knicks would have liked it. I don't know if the White Sox would have liked it. But I think the White Sox, would have been a better position because the player is better than what Andrew Vaughn is. I think they should do more of that in the future. Stop drafting first baseman exclusively. Like, don't draft the first baseman. I don't care how well he hits, because that versatility is zero. It's just that person has to be a good bat. With Corbin Carroll, he can be a good glove, a good runner, and a good bat. All that stuff works out together. Andrew Vaughn has to be solely, because we know that his defense is not getting better, right? As he gets older, his footwork is not getting better.
He's not going to get quicker.
So he's 100% what our evaluation is on his bat. And his bat hasn't got there yet. And so, 100% I would have a player of Corbin Carroll's ilk or just a corner outfielder / center fielder over a first baseman.
Real quick, I am stupid. They couldn't have drafted Bobby Witt Jr. because
he went second.
He went second. So I just want to say I'm a big dumb idiot.
And I would have drafted him over him too.
They couldn't have.
Yeah, the Royals did.
I would have taken Adley Rutschman over Andrew Vaughn. I'll go out on that ledge.
Well, Herb.
Yes.
You're wearing some really thick hindsight 2020 glasses right there, because you're basically
it was 2019, not 2020.
You're making. Can we get the rim shot again? You're making the real hot take of, boy, the White Sox should have gone with the guy who ended up being amazing. Thanks. Good call, Herb.
Last year, did you want to say Alek Manoah would have been a better pick too?
I don't know. I think Alek Manoah still has something. I don't know what they're doing up there, KPW. What are you doing to Alek Manoah? I know he's kind of a douche too.
The point is, they spent the number 3 pick in the draft on a guy who had like an on-base percentage of 500 playing in the Pac-12.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was nothing wrong with that draft pick the night they made it.
I don't think so.
They took the best player, the best hitter in college baseball, and they made him a part of what appeared at the time to be a core that was going to be full of young, talented players.
Let me ask you this question. Going back to that draft night, when they made him the 3rd overall pick, this is the note on Wikipedia. He was the first player from the draft to make his major league debut. Was that by design? Like, was that rushed?
They claim no, but when you pick a guy who has mastered hitting at an advanced level, college versus high school, and not in a joke conference or anything like that, too, the Pac-12, the idea is, he should be here pretty soon, right? Because the guy knows how to hit. I don't think that arrival date was crazy. What made it crazy was the fact that in 2020 he didn't play any minor league baseball games. No one played any minor league baseball games in 2020. But if 2020 would have happened and his debut was opening day 2021, are you saying that he was rushed? I mean, are you shocked that a year and a half was all that a guy who had the numbers that he had offensively in college needed? Maybe, and was the third overall pick in the draft? Maybe not. Maybe you wouldn't have been surprised. I don't think the drafting of Andrew Vaughn is the thing that was the thing that tanked this whole project and turned them into a 101 loss team. Particularly when you compare it to other guys. I mean, we bring it up all the time, right? How many teams didn't draft Mike Trout? I mean, like it.
The Angels once.
The Angels were one of them. But yeah, I mean the baseball draft is just such a crapshoot. I mean, at times that when you take a guy that seems as safe as Andrew Vaughn, I don't think anybody can criticize that pick at the time. So much can happen between then and by the time his book is written. I don't think the story is really closed on Andrew Vaughn. Yeah, I think he's probably the first to tell you that he's had a disappointing first few years to his big league career. But at the same time, you just talked about how young he is and how short it has been since he was drafted. He's got time. Corbin Carroll is a guy who right now is one of the better, more exciting players in baseball. Those guys are not, there's not an ample stock of players like that. And for him to turn himself into one of those guys is probably something that should be commended over saying, boy, look at Andrew Vaughn, he blew it, kind of thing.
And again, to look at his 2019, his highest place where he ended up playing Major League Baseball was Advanced A. Played 29 games at Winston-Salem, only had a 760 OPS, had a 259 average, 349 on-base percentage, slugging of 411, good walk-to-K ratio, 16-17, which, again, was what everyone loved, was that he had a great eye, but we really haven't seen that, and it just seems like he kind of, I don't know, it's just like really trying to catch up. I think that would be how to describe it. It never feels like he's in control at the plate. And again, his highest level of baseball was Advanced A, 29 games of Advanced A in 2019, then took a complete year off of baseball. And then they said, hey, to start your career, you're going to skip from Advanced A to Major League Baseball, and you're going to play
the outfield.
You're going to play your first 29 games in left field, which you've never done. His first game in I think in the outfield in the minor leagues was in 2022. Like he had to go forward to go back. And in his 2 games in Charlotte, he had an OPS over 111. So maybe he's a little bit too advanced. Like, I don't know. It just definitely that timeline screwed him over, I feel.
And yeah, I think so too. I think that wasn't his friend, but the White Sox, and you ask Andrew, felt that he can do that. He can actually make the jump from A to the major leagues. Now, he hasn't been the player as of yet, but I eventually, as we were talking last week when we were giving him grades, I eventually think that he will be at least solid 30 home run guy in the league. Maybe not where they thought he would be, where he's just a consummate hitter, he's got the great eye and all that good stuff. But yeah, I didn't blame, and I still don't, I was a little tongue-in-cheek on Andrew Vaughn getting selected where he did. He should have got selected where he did, but I think the White Sox kind of do these things where they rush players up, and I put those in quotes, where Garrett Crochet was picked early in the year, didn't even pitch in the minor leagues, and then he's on a major league team at the end of the year. I mean, they try to get people up who are ready to play and contribute immediately. I heard the word right there where they drafted Andrew Vaughn. He's the one that's closest to the major leagues. His bat can play right now in the major leagues if they were to put him in, and then just had to do a little development. Like I said, he only played a couple games in the minors, and then 2 years later, he's in the major leagues. And I think that's partly because of the White Sox and partly more because of the pandemic that ruined Andrew Vaughn's early career.
57 games he played in the minor leagues.
Whew.
Brutal.
Friends.
Yeah, I don't think, to go back to the original question, then we can move into what Herb said last week. I don't think Carroll's chase rate is like league average if he's on the White Sox. His on-base percentage is around 362. He's not. I mean, we see every single White Sox player, all the way to Andrew Benintendi, come here and just kind of lose plate discipline. So I don't know if Carroll's here this early, and if he is, he's definitely not this good, and that's why they try to get Josh Barfield over here. So fill in Vinny on what you told him. You would rather Luis Robert Jr. than Corbin Carroll?
I would rather have the opposite.
Corbin Carroll
than Luis Robert Jr.
What you said doesn't make sense in my brain.
I know it doesn't. It breaks your brain. And yes, I see the numbers. Luis Robert Jr. had a phenomenal year. Absolutely phenomenal. But do you see the difference what happened with Corbin Carroll when Game 6 of the NLCS, he hadn't stole anything. He hadn't done well in the NLCS. And this is kind of where it was coming from, Vinny. And then Game 6, he just decided, hey, man, I'm Corbin Carroll, man. Let's attempt a couple stolens. Let's get on base, I think, 3 or 4 times that game. Change the trajectory of that series because everybody and their mama thought they're going back to Philadelphia in that building and it was going to be game over in Game 6. I think Corbin Carroll changed the trajectory of that series just by his wheels and his bat and his glove. He is that dynamic of a player. In Game 7, you saw what he does. And I just think the guy and as you shared the video with me from Foolish Baseball, his base running is just on par with some of the greats of all time. Only 1 year, and the bases are bigger this year, so you could take that into the equation. But he only got thrown out, I think, 4 or 5 times this year, stole 50-plus bases, hit 20-plus home runs. He goes from first to third with the greatest of ease. One time he went from first to home on a single. Like, that guy makes things happen where you as the pitcher have to worry about him constantly, every 5 seconds. And I guarantee even those 5 games he wasn't stealing in the NLCS, Phillies pitchers were just worried about him when he was on base. He's like, that fucker's got 56 stolen bases, only been thrown out 5 times. He's going to steal it one time. And I guarantee that was in the back of their mind. And then when he eventually did, it worked out for them. And their team started being the team that they saw late in the year when they were defeating the Cubs like it was nothing, and the White Sox too. So I think Corbin Carroll just brings way more things to the table than what Luis Robert brings to the table. And if we're talking about contract, he's still under his first-year contract. He's very young.
So was Luis Robert Jr.
He got a raise, though. He's still getting...
So did Corbin Carroll.
Carroll signed a big extension.
Okay, did
8-year, 111.
Okay, yeah. That's little. That's chump change.
Robert's making $50 million.
Yeah.
That's also chump change.
I understand.
Billionaires own these. I was about to say own these people. That's a little bit rough, but I mean, they own the club. Jesus, it's a weird...
I just think that he's a better overall player than Luis Robert. It's hard to say.
That's fine. I mean, it is hard to say for you. I mean, I don't think that Corbin Carroll is going to exceed 30 home runs again. I think that you could also teach Luis Robert Jr. how to be a better base runner. You look at his actual ability, like his speed. Luis Robert Jr. is just as fast as he was when he was a 22-year-old. His sprint speed this year, 28.7. In 2020, it was 29.1.
But Carroll's faster.
That's true. They're both elite.
Yes.
I mean, also too, you put them in a race. Does Corbin Carroll beat him if Luis Robert Jr. is running right next to him, or does the actual competition? Right, so or does the competition? I mean, you never know. I mean, I also think that you put Luis Robert Jr. in that situation. You put him on the Diamondbacks. You put him in Game 6. He's leading off and he's on first base because they teach him plate discipline and maybe he walks a few times. I think that he can also steal the same bags Carroll's stealing. But he's a little bit smaller and he's a little bit faster for sure. He only stole 20, but he's also because he's the guy. He has to be third in the lineup and drive in 80 of the White Sox, 200 runs they scored this year.
Here's what I'll say, Sean. I think some of the things that you're saying are actually backing up Herb's point. Okay. In that you're saying, and you're pinning it on the White Sox, but it's like there are things that Corbin Carroll does that Luis Robert doesn't do. Now, I'd like to see Luis Robert Jr. in a fully healthy Luis Robert Jr. with all the things that we know he can do in Game 6 of the LCS with the season on the line and the game on the line and see if he plays the same way. We don't know. We just watched him play for a team that lost 101 games. Mm-hmm. But I remember watching that D-backs team when they came to the South Side and saying, wow, they are trying really, really hard. They're running all over the place, and they're doing that thing that we talked about the Guardians doing all last year when they ran away. That's a play on words, with the AL Central last year, because they were literally running all over the place, and they were playing a style of baseball that allowed them to win games that their roster said they didn't necessarily have the chance to win, right? And I think Carroll and his D-backs teammates do a lot of the same things, Herb, you talk about the base running ability, right? And Sean, you're like, oh, well, if Luis Robert Jr. just got on base more, well, guess what Corbin Carroll does? He gets on base a heck of a lot more. That is true. So there are things that Carroll does that Robert Jr. does not do. That being said, at the end of the day, Luis Robert Jr. is a much more dangerous baseball player. There are things that he does that Corbin Carroll cannot do. And all you got to do is look at the power ability and the slug ability. And then, look at the fact that Luis Robert Jr. just spent the entire season impressing the hell out of us with what he does in center field. So let's not pretend that because, you see Carroll go first to home doesn't mean that Robert doesn't have amazing, if not better, athletic and physical gifts, right? So I think that this is a very reasonable question, particularly after just this 1 year, because both of them had breakout years. They were both star players this season. There's nothing wrong with having either of these guys on your team. I think Luis Robert Jr., I'd probably give the slight edge in what you guys are talking about. If I took the easy trick answer way out, who would you rather have? I'd say Carroll, because he's under contract through 2031. Right. I think I'd give Robert the slight edge, just because the dude's going to hit so many more home runs. He's going to hit so many more extra base hits. At the end of the day, that's going to score you more runs. But Herb, you're exactly right in saying game on the line, season on the line. Look what he just did out there. Look what he willed himself and his team to do, on top of the fact that he's got a whole ton of athletic ability and baseball ability as well. I think that's a very even question that these guys that you could ask, who would you rather have for these guys, because they are both sensational players. I think if we are going to split hairs, I'll give you Robert, Sean, but I think that Herb's making a lot of great points in that we haven't seen some of the stuff from Robert, even if he can do it, that we've seen from Carroll, and maybe that's just the situation, but give Carroll credit for showing it.
And I saw somebody put that Robert was still a 95% clip if he was allowed to. This year, he only struggled at an 83% clip. Good, but not 92% like Corbin Carroll was. So
yeah, he's a top 25 with players who have attempted 50 or more stolen bases since 2020.
Yes.
22nd in the league at 82.14. I mean, good, and he was also injured for 2 of those years.
Yeah. I think, if he was to put himself into that area where he's power and speed, I don't think he cares about stealing bases as much as Corbin Carroll does. It's part of Corbin Carroll's game.
I think he's been slowed down. I think the team's told him not to.
Okay.
In certain situations. Yeah.
And to keep him healthy, that's cool too.
Yeah.
But and he means more to the White Sox than Corbin Carroll means to the Diamondbacks.
Corbin Carroll goes, if that's true.
Corbin Carroll goes down. They still have people that can do things. Luis Robert goes down.
But he's their best player.
Operation is over. You just run.
On a team where they lose 101 games, absolutely, that's the case. But this is a D-backs team that's in the World Series that just won a pennant. It's very interesting to think, what would Luis Robert Jr. mean to a team that wins a pennant and puts itself in a position to win a championship? We could be sitting here talking about him as if he was, Mike Trout or who's never won a playoff game, but we could be talking about him as one of the best of the absolute best, like you are so impressed with Corbin Carroll right now. I mean, Luis Robert Jr. has got the speed to take off for second base with the game on the line, steal the base, take off for third base with the game on the line, and I think we saw that a few times during the season too. But they lost 101 games. What is there to push your team toward? And I think the reason we were so impressed with what the Guardians did in 2022 is because, wow, look what they just did. They just used that kind of skill to win games and win a division and get themselves to the playoffs. When Luis Robert Jr. is the only guy out here, having a successful offensive season, and everybody else around him is failing, for lack of a better term, and the team is just failing over and over again, and they lose 100 games, I don't think you're going to see the kind of thing where you can pinpoint, wow, Luis Robert Jr. did that, and look to where it got him, because it only got him to one of the worst seasons in franchise history.
Right. Real quick, let's just show some 2023 stats. Actually, let's take a break. We'll show some 2023 stats, and we'll get into this a little bit more, too, because I got more thoughts. And also to help your point, Herb, too, since 2020, the leader in stolen base percentage with at least 50 attempts.
Corbin Carroll. Pretty damn good, guys.
Only player above 90%. No one said he wasn't.
No, I'm just saying, like, he's one of the best players in his rookie year.
Oh, absolutely.
And he only has more to grow on.
I think only that Ohtani guy beat him. Ohtani had a pretty good rookie year, right?
He's pretty good every year.
Was he hurt on his rookie year? I don't know.
I think whatever. Let's take a break. Let's let you know about our friends over at Ray CDJR. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? If you are, then we have some good news for you. Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fox Lake have joined the CHGO team at Ray CDJR. You'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories and find unforgettable savings. And right now, during Ram Power Days at Ray CDJR only in Fox Lake, you'll be able to secure 0% financing or 17% off new Ram models. But that's not all. Now through October 31st, that's tomorrow, explore their newly renovated showroom and take advantage of limited time 7-year anniversary savings. So if you are in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out the team at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, because they're the only team we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake and see their new showroom. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com today. That's raycdjr.com today, serving the community since 1963. Also want to let you know about our friends. Our friends doesn't make sense when it's us. This is the Die Hard read.
I mean, one might say we're our best friends.
That's true. I mean, no one's gonna hype you up but yourself. So you see that black box in the middle. I guess we've upgraded the box here.
It's thicker.
It is.
Yeah.
It seems like a heftier box. I think it holds more stuff. We got the Die Hard program.
Wow.
If you are a Chicago sports fan who loves being on top of everything Chicago, if you want instant reaction to Bears postgame, Blackhawks postgame, Bulls postgame, if you want the pregame show, if you want off-season discussion about Luis Robert Jr. and Corbin Carroll, this is the place for you. Sign up to become a diehard today. Level up your fandom. Head over to allchgo.com. You get a free shirt when you become a member. Oh, there's a shirt in there. You get a member card that Herb's holding up. I think there might be even stickers in there. I'm not sure. It's a nice lined diehard box, though, as well. You get podcasts and live shows on every team every single day, post-game shows whenever there is a game. I think Bulls play tonight against Indiana. You got premium written content for members at allchgo.com. Vinny's piece today is free, but I know last time you went on a vacation, you journaled about Australia and the cricket match you watched.
I didn't go to any sort of wild sporting event this time, but
no reason to journal.
But yeah, that cricket one was great.
Yeah, it was cool. And that was premium for members at allchgo.com. You get 20% off events like our tailgates coming up. We got our final one, at least that's scheduled for November 9th against Carolina. It's very cold, so I guess that's why they're stopping the tailgates. I mean, cold's never killed anybody.
Yeah,
Anyways,
you say that unless you're out there for 6 hours.
You think I've been a podcast host all my life? I've ran promotions for radio stations, and it's been very cold there. I've stood out in the cold.
I mean, you've been a podcast host most of your life.
I mean, out of like the percentage wise, out of here, yes, but that's just because of age. We got to stop with the witty banter, though. People don't like that. People don't like us being witty. There's also a members only Discord, the CHGO Lounge, where you guys get to send in questions, and we'll have a mailbag show tomorrow. Thank you, Sarah. CHGO Bears tailgates, like we mentioned, the next one is on November 9th, and our friends over at X Golf will be out there for the next 3 tailgates. For the next one, X Golf will be giving out a $200 gift certificate to any of their Chicagoland locations. Find the X Golf nearest you at playxgolf.com/Chicagoland. Okay, let's get into the 2023 stats for Luis Robert versus Corbin Carroll. Yeah, you're all good. The one that I made, if that helps, Sarah. Oh, thank you very much. Battle of the Stars here, Robert and Carroll. Robert on the left, Carroll on the right. Doubles, Robert bested Carroll 36-30. Carroll did play in more games, 155 to 145. Carroll with more triples. More triple-friendly park he's playing in, too.
The most triples, right? Didn't he lead the National League?
It was a
Yeah.
bolded stat, so I think you're correct. 10 triples for Carroll, 1 for Robert Jr. More homers for Robert, 38 to 25. That's the other thing, too. Will he even be on first base, or is he taking a trip around the bases? Because he's 6'4", 240, could also play middle linebacker for the Bears. Corbin Carroll is a little guy. Would you rather have Jacoby Ellsbury or Mike Trout? Sorry, I'm editorializing.
Crushing Jacoby Ellsbury.
Stolen bases. I don't know. They both
He was
are
good for a bit.
and they're both injured, so I don't know what the horrible combo actually. 45 stolen bases or 54 stolen bases for Carroll, 20 for Robert. 285 average for Carroll, 264 for Robert. 362 on base percentage for Carroll, 315 for Robert. Slugging 506 for Carroll, 542 for Luis Robert.
It's a big
Jr.
number.
Yes. F-WAR 6 for Carroll, 5 for Robert, and then outs above average, because that's important, and then Herb, you can jump in if anything else sticks out to you. What's important? 12 outs above average for Luis Robert Jr., -3 for Corbin Carroll, playing around the outfield, 481 in left, 304 innings in center field, and 481 in right field.
Versatility. I mean, the only reason that he does occasionally move off a center is because there's a better center fielder, which another thing of the White Sox that I did. Alec Thomas, good center fielder out there for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Just a complete player, Corbin Carroll is, and he's going to get better. That was his rookie year where he pretty much took the thing by storm. He's going to win the Rookie of the Year in the National League, and I think he's going to be better. I know you asked me, will he hit more than this? Yes, he will hit more home runs. He will hit for more power. Yes, the 5'10" frame is not that big, but I think with his coming years, he will continue to hit more home runs. Do I think Luis Robert will hit more home runs? Yes. I think eventually he will hit a 50 home run season, and he will be the player. Well, he's already the player that we expect him to be, and I think he's going to continue to grow. But as far as the whole game is concerned, that player is slightly better than Luis Robert. I mean, I don't think we can argue too much more that he's shown that the glove is premier, the bat is premier, the base running's premier. What else is there to get from Corbin Carroll? What else do you want from Corbin Carroll?
Not premier.
It's all right. It plays in multiple spots. What's the outs above average?
Oh, let's see. Can Luis Robert Jr. play left field or right field?
He can.
I mean, what is that argument?
But that's versatility.
Luis Robert Jr. is a better defender. Luis Robert Jr. doesn't have to be versatile. He's the best damn center fielder on his team. Corbin Carroll
And
moves
perhaps
because
in
he's
baseball.
not.
Would he be the best center fielder if Alec Thomas is here?
Yes.
Okay.
He's the third best. He's a top 3 center fielder in the American League.
It's a different league.
He's a 98 percentile in outs above average.
Herb, I'm with Sean on this one.
What? He's got a better arm. Corbin Carroll's got an 18-year-old noodle arm. Luis
Yes.
Robert Jr. is a grown man. He's 40. He's 25.
It's outs above average.
Great
4.
Mike Gundy reference.
It's in the 85 percentile.
Fielding run value, -3.
We're at.
Oh, that's Ferv, Herb.
Oh, okay.
He's coming
Sorry.
at you with
His
Ferv.
range, which is now outs above average, is 4. His fielding run value is -3.
Okay.
My bad.
And what about
But so Carroll's fielding run value, he's in the 28th percentile, which is below average. It's -3. Luis Robert Jr.'s fielding run value is 95th percentile, and it's 12.
all right? And we're talking about base running. He's one of the top base runners in the game.
99th percentile,
well,
five base running value. Robert, 17th percentile, -2.
Yes, that's a huge deal, especially if you're the guy who's producing runs. There's no one in front of Luis Robert producing runs. He has to produce his own runs.
Right, but, like,
and he's not doing himself any favors on the bases by being a better base runner.
Drop Robert onto the Diamondbacks.
Yes.
Are they in the same place?
Better, probably. He's got more offense.
Wait, are who in the same place? The Diamondbacks?
Yeah, swap Carroll for
Well, swap
Robert.
Carroll and Robert.
Are they in the same place? Are they in the World Series?
I think so.
I mean, yeah.
And if
You're
you
talking about 25 other guys, right? Yeah.
But I think if you swap Robert and Carroll on the White Sox, I think the White Sox don't come close to 101 losses.
You think Carroll helps them?
Yes.
Oh, God.
He was at the top. He'll be at the top of the order, actually having people on base.
I don't really
White Sox
understand
coaching.
Herb, I don't really understand where you're going here. I thought it was a close call here
What?
at the beginning, but now you're kind of drifting on me here.
How?
He is a great base runner. Absolutely, 100%. But he's
He
only
gets on base at a higher clip.
He does, but also like I think that Luis Robert Jr. would benefit a ton from coaching. He's now had two different. This will now be 3 different hitting coaches in the past 3 years for Luis Robert Jr. At least from Menachino to Johnson and who's the other guy they fired?
Jose Castro.
Jose Castro.
Oh, okay.
And then now it's going to be a new guy. Like, I mean, he hasn't really had consistency. Corbin Carroll's great. Corbin Carroll's fantastic. But I think Corbin Carroll just had a 99th percentile season. I think Luis Robert Jr. is just scraping the surface of what he can do.
Also, Herb, I feel too that you're talking about a guy. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're very enamored with the fact that Corbin Carroll has a skill set that the White Sox don't have. No one has it, right? And you're like, wow,
that
White Sox need that guy.
That
you're
no
like,
team has,
right? But if you swap them, like, then who's driving in Corbin Carroll?
Corbin Carroll.
Well, but
he gets
Luis Robert
runs in.
But Luis Robert drove himself in way more than Corbin Carroll did.
I think Corbin Carroll had more runs.
Well, he could steal second and third base, but the White Sox don't have anybody to hit him in. If they don't have Robert.
Carroll had 116 runs. Robert had 90. As Alex Potnos points out, 38 of Robert's
home runs.
90 runs were home runs. So 42% of the time he scored, he was driving in himself.
Right. He was a one-man band.
He was.
But that to me is also impressive.
Very much so. He had a phenomenal year. But if we're talking about, hey, this player blind resume, this player blind resume, which player you take? I'm taking Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, but it's not blind, I guess.
No, I think we're projecting that we think that Luis Robert was great, which he was, but I don't think we're recognizing how much greatness is in Corbin Carroll in his rookie year. You say Luis is going to get better. You don't think you think he's just a 99th percentile and he's going to just level off after this? No, it's his rookie year.
The graphic said Battle of the Stars, so I'm not trying to denigrate Corbin Carroll in any way. He just put up a 6 WAR.
Read the graphic, Herb.
It's Robert versus Carroll, and we're having a discussion. It's would you rather. You would rather have Carroll. I'd rather have Robert. I don't think there's a wrong answer. Both of these guys are fantastic. Both of these guys are going to be all-stars for sure. It's interesting to see how someone would build a team. I don't think your answer is wrong. But he gets on base, he scores runs, he hits 25 homers, he stole 50 bags. There's nothing wrong with Corbin Carroll.
What percentage would you say Luis Robert had this past year? What percentage year did he have? If Corbin Carroll had his 99th percentile year.
I mean, just look at the body. I don't think that you can max out more homers from that. Maybe you could steal more bags, but he's already at a 90th percentile. I just think that, he had to do that much for that team to win 84 games. And that team, like, they all really just had a great year together. I mean, that was a great team uplifting everybody. I think Luis Robert probably had like an 80th percentile season for himself. He is absolutely nowhere near his top. If Luis Robert Jr. played 155 games and he's 28 and he's fully healthy, he is absolutely hitting 50 home runs.
I don't disagree.
Corbin Carroll is, I think, maxed out at 25.
I think he tops out at like 35 home runs. That's not that far of a walk. That's 7 more home runs, right? Than he hit this past year.
He hit 25, so that's 10.
So 10 more home runs.
So. Now, and feel free to vamp because now I just need to look up players who are 5'10". Like his size just doesn't.
I mean, we
This
thought
is baseball.
We thought that Andrew Vaughn was going to hit a bunch of home runs.
This is baseball,
and this guy is doing it better than Andrew Vaughn in his rookie year.
Dustin Pedroia won an MVP. Jose Altuve won an MVP. This is baseball. You don't need to look like Luis Robert Jr. does to be the best. But
no, but I'm not saying that. But Dustin Pedroia didn't hit 30 bombs.
Yeah,
but they were MVP caliber players. Is what I'm saying.
What I'm saying, I'm not saying that Corbin Carroll can't be like a 10 WAR player. I'm just saying, like, I think that his power's maxed. Herb's saying he's going to hit 35 homers. I don't know.
And I think the reason I would side with you in this specific discussion is that Luis Robert Jr. we know has the ability to hit for that kind of power, right. And when you do that, those numbers get jacked up really much quicker. And so I think Corbin Carroll's been fantastic. Herb, by highlighting how good he's been, you're pointing out the things that Luis Robert Jr. doesn't do. But I think Luis Robert Jr. does an awful lot. and I think he does enough to be one of those MVP players as well.
Okay, so
but the run value on pitches too. He just crushes. Like he's just scratching the surface of where he's gonna be eventually.
you'd hope that, but I mean, we thought that with when Eloy Jimenez came up and hit 30 bombs. Like that was all maybe a 99th percentile season for those guys in 2021 or 2020, whenever. Like, I mean, sometimes there's just a moment for these players. We all thought that the White Sox were going to be unfailable in 2020 and 2021. PHNX probably thinks that the same about the Diamondbacks. What if they get worse? What if Corbin Carroll gets injured?
That's the only thing that's going to hold him back. Injuries.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a top over. I mean, he's a. If we're having a fantasy draft, if we're turning that on in MLB The Show, they're both first round picks. They're probably both. I don't know if Carroll's top 10. We should do that.
Just pick the top 10 players in baseball.
30 people. Oh, I guess. No, but I actually do a fantasy draft and see the way it plays out. It was Willie Mays 5'10", 170. I don't believe that.
He's not that tall. I've met him before. He's not that tall.
Did you meet him when he was 24?
I met him when he was of a older age, like in his 70s.
So these are players that are 5'10" or shorter and 170 or smaller that have hit 25 homers. There's 50 of them. Carroll's one of them. Willie Mays did it a ton, shockingly. Mel Ott did it. Jimmy Wynn did it.
The Toy Canyon did it.
Who?
Jimmy Fox, Double X.
Oh, yeah. Ripper Collins did it. But nobody...
I'm sorry, Ripper Collins?
Yeah. Nobody since Willie Mays has hit 35 home runs and has been that short and that small. The only players that I guess are comps, Ozzie Albies in 2023 had 33. Jose Altuve had 31 in 2019 and 2021. Ozzie Albies had 30 in 2021. So if he's going to be... Yeah, Altuve and Albies are the only modern day players that are that short and have hit 25 homers.
And one of them, is going to be kind of a fringe Hall of Fame guy, maybe in Altuve.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, he's a Hall of Famer. With this postseason,
there are reasons that people will not vote for him. Is what I'm getting at.
They've already forgotten about that.
And the other guy's in a Dairy Queen commercial
and making no money in comparison to all the rest of his people. I want his agent fired.
Would you rather have Corbin Carroll or Ozzie Albies?
I mean, Corbin Carroll because of multiple reasons, but dumbass agent gets 7 years for $35 million. Oh, my God. At the time, it was terrible. And now the player that he is, oh, my God, he's getting such a discount. The Braves are getting such a discount on Ozzie Albies.
If you picked Ozzie Albies, though, you might be able to get a good
players
deal on some Blizzards.
And wasn't he in the BMW commercial, too, last year with Tim?
He was in that. Yeah, he was in that weird one where they all take a road trip, and you're like, "Who are Are these people friends?"
Yeah, and it's weird. Like if they're not if you're not a baseball fan, I don't know if you know those people in that car. So they need to put a little thing, and if you need to put a little thing, then they shouldn't be in that commercial. Like, oh, this is Walker Buehler, this is Tim Anderson, this is Jose Ramirez, and this is Ozzie Albies. Like they did with what was it? The Geico commercials. Like, hi, All-Pro linebacker Brian Arakpo. How are you doing? If you need to be shouted out, then you're not that good as a spokesperson.
I mean, they'd have to shout out you. Are you saying people shouldn't make you a sponsor?
Not for a national brand. If we're doing a thing for the CHGO, yeah. I think people in the CHGO know who I am.
Well, shout out to FOCO. Get fitted in the best sports gear around. I appreciate FOCO for making me their spokesperson for the CHGO White Sox show. Hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything you need in between. You can get over at FOCO to either deck out your man cave. Maybe you got a man garage. Maybe
or a woman cave or a woman garage.
Maybe a they garage, a them garage.
Or maybe you have a man or a woman to dress up in FOCO.
To deck out.
That's
to
true.
Deck out.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe you have a, what are the smaller humans called? A baby?
Child.
Yeah, smaller humans.
Set decorations like the
Sean is AI. What are the smaller humans may called?
Baby.
Set decorations have been donated by FOCO. That great Southpaw one. I hope they don't have a blooper one. Did you see blooper? The Braves mascot was talking trash to the White Sox.
The Braves mascot was talking trash to the White Sox?
Well, the White Sox won 2 out of 3 in Atlanta? Who's talking trash?
No, this year.
Yeah,
I mean, not this year. Like today. I don't know. No one should follow that, but yeah, someone named Andrew Wright said, "Aren't you going to the World Series?" Oh wait, and then they said you should start a counter for days until the White Sox miss the postseason again.
This is from the official Braves mascot Twitter account.
Mm-hmm.
That's very bizarre.
And have you ever seen how ugly it is? Like, what is this?
It's a monster. It's not racist like their last one.
I mean,
before that
it
one,
looks
Show
no
it to the
weirder than
camera.
Southpaw, man.
It's no weirder than Southpaw.
It's like
for
a
sure, but
knockoff
like,
for-
oh, you can't even see it.
it's like a knockoff of the Philly Fanatic.
Yeah.
Aren't they all?
If the Philly Fanatic was beige,
Yes.
if the Philly Fanatic was like
And
a
not
sand
good.
demon,
and not really good at being a mascot, yeah, he'll be the blooper.
so go check out if they have any sand demon bobbleheads at FOCO. Check out FOCO.com, FOCO.com, or click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. Use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. Also want to let you know about Empire today. Vinny, do you want to sing the song? Do you need to get that off your system?
No, I'm gonna save that up for later in the week.
Okay. Are you gonna be like Carmen and sing the wrong song?
Yes, I heard him
I mean,
do
I
that.
don't
want to
do that.
I did hear him. do
Oh,
it
you
last
did
night.
the other one?
Yeah, he did.
It's
And
okay.
Carm did it a
It's
little
their
longer.
company anyways.
Carm did it a little longer, and then Bragg said the company too. It's like, oof.
No, but what I learned is the L company is a subsidiary.
Oh, really?
They're,
Okay.
yeah, they're
I
like
didn't
within
know
the
that.
same family.
Okay.
I think, if I understood Jim correctly. I'm not going to say it though because it's an Empire read. Want to let you know about our friends over at Empire. With Empire today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Empire today is the best place to get new flooring. So, of course, they have copycats, but they can't beat us. The copycats can't beat them on quality, service, speed. So they advertise low-quality products that Empire won't simply carry. The other people will promise the lowest prices, but they're also putting floors in your house that you don't want, that they themselves, the copycats, wouldn't put in their own floors.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Empire keeps shopping for floors simple with a curated product selection, and their virtual floor designer is a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. And you could schedule a free home estimate today, and all listeners can receive $350 off when they use promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/CHGO for details. And again, use code CHGO for your $350 off discount when you use promo code CHGO. And if you are a new homeowner looking to get your floors set up, set them up for, a good while, right? Put quality floors in, call the people over at Empire today. And they've been putting floors in people's homes for over 40 years. So they are well trusted. And if you're using something, or it's such again, if you're building the foundation, that's not flooring, right? You got to start from the bottom. You got to use the best, and then if I'm trying to make a baseball thing. Go to Empire.
You start from the bottom.
Get a floor.
Then you're over here, right?
Get you a floor.
588-2300.
Empire.
Today. Okay. Blank name saying Robert all day if healthy. You're saying Robert.
I'm going with LRJ.
I know you're saying Corbin Carroll
I am.
fiercely.
I am.
Okay. I will say Luis Robert Jr. as well. We got some Arizona Fall League stuff going on. Jake Eater is currently on the mound for the Arizona Desert Dogs. We'll just quickly address this. I didn't get to the bad place yet, so I didn't get to put you guys in a bad spot. But Mark Gonzalez of the Chicago Sun-Times was in Glendale, Arizona, and chatted with Sox general manager Chris Getz. And honestly, let's just save this. It's 4:30.
What a tease.
We've put it in there. So tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit about Jake Eater. We're going to talk a little bit about how fun the White Sox 2024 season could be if Jake Eater is actually on the White Sox team. It's not going to be fun. But yeah, I don't know. I think it was a good discussion today. I mean,
think
it just
so, too.
seems like you want a little bit more contact if you're building the team.
I want
a little bit more flash and pop.
a better player, slightly better player than Luis Robert.
Okay. Well, I didn't use those words because I was going to try to
F4.
keep it neutral.
F4 said so.
And okay.
Four.
for? What is it good for? That's Herb Lawrence, and he's wrong. You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. That's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber and read his work at allchgo.com. He's got a piece up about the 100-loss 2021 Rangers and Orioles, and you can read how that affects the 2023 100-loss of White Sox. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to everyone except, who was that, Pam in the chat who was calling, said we sucked. Yeah. Thanks.
much,
I put her in a timeout.
Oh, okay. Thanks to everyone except
Thanks for
Pam.
watching, though, Pam.
Yeah, thanks everyone but Pam. Hit the thumbs up button. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.